Hi everybody, today we're going to be talking about four basic types of graphs. That's the dot plot, the bar graph, the pie chart, and the histogram. So the first graph we will be looking at is the dot plot. Dot plots display numerical data. Each dot represents the frequency of a numerical response. So for example, if I'm looking at all of those dots that are above zero, we have 6 dots over zero. That means there are 6 people who spend 0 minutes eating breakfast. If I look at the number of dots over 12, that means there's 1 person who is spending 12 minutes eating breakfast. Our number line increases by a consistent interval. Usually that interval is 1. So here it's going 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. You could go by twos if that was important to you, but most of the time you're going to see them increase by 1. And this is used with lower variable data because we need to see an overlap in responses to be creating a dot plot that is useful. If I have high variable data, I'm going to create a histogram. A histogram looks a lot like a bar graph, except that it is only used to display numerical data that has high variability. So if I ask people their ages and I get 20 different responses, then I'm probably going to group those up into intervals that make sense. So in this case, they grouped up the ages that they got into intervals of 10. So we go 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. In a histogram, those intervals have to be consistent. So I can't go 20 to 30 and then 30 to 50 because those aren't the same. That first interval is 10 and the second one is 20. You can't do that with a histogram. Each bar in the histogram must touch. That's part of what just makes it a histogram visually. And the frequency is the number of times a response occurs. So for example, that first bar we have there between 20 and 30 means I have 2 people whose ages were between 20 and 30. I don't know what ages they were. They could have been 22 and 27, or they could have both been 20. We don't know, which is one of the downsides to a histogram, but it is a nice way to visually show high variable numerical data. Bar graph. Most of you are probably already familiar with this. Typically displays categorical data. You could use it to display numerical data, but that's not as common. It is data that has lower variability. So just like the dot plot, we want to see a lot of overlap in our responses to make it interesting. And these bars don't have to touch. So unlike a histogram, these don't have to touch. In a histogram, they have to touch because we're showing that each response continues from the last. But in this, we don't need to do that. And last but not least, we have the pie chart or the circle graph. It displays categorical data. The only downside to this is it only shows the percent that gave a specific response. It doesn't tell you how many people. So for here where it says banana 30%, I don't know if that 30% is 3 people, 30 people, 10 people. We just don't know. And it can be used for less variable data. In that case, you're going to group up miscellaneous responses under a category of other. And so that is it for the 4 basic types of graphs that we will be looking at in the next few weeks. And I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.